Your name might be on the title. It might be parked in your garage, but I'm the owner because I'm the king of Miatas. Today we're going to talk about timing belt replacement on the Mazda Miata MX-5 1990 through 2005. And here we have the variation of the 6 different engines built from 1990 through 2005. You can actually tell the difference because all the engines have a different front damper or front crankshaft pulley. We're going to look at the first engine that was delivered in the United States, and that was the 1990 Mazda Miata, also known as the short nose crankshaft. And the front damper on this engine has 4 slots. You can see how it's set up here. In 91, they changed the damper because this is the long nose crank, and this is a 27 millimeter shaft, whereas the early crank had a 22 millimeter shank. So they increased the shank size of the crankshaft. This slotted damper, and this would be the 91 through 93 damper, has 8 slots in it. Also, it has a 4 multi-groove belt and a single groove belt. So I have a single groove belt and a 4 groove belt. The next engine that came out was in 1994, and now this is the 1800 engine, and you can see that this engine is, again, now they all use the long nose crank or the 27 millimeter shank crank, but you can see that this pulley has 4 groove belt, 4 groove belt, so it uses 2 4 groove belts. You can also see the shape of the pulley in here, how it's actually shaped in here. The next engine that came out was OBD2 compliant engine, and to be OBD2, the pulley again is 4 groove, 4 groove. You can see the cut in the pulley right here. But now you can see there's a counter. This is the counter, the crankshaft sensor. This sensor actually runs a signal to the crankshaft to tell where the crankshaft is. There's a little pointer, comes up about every 4 times, and the computer recognizes that. So this is an OBD2 1800 engine, used 96 through 97. The next variance, if we look at this one, this is the 99 through 2000 crankshaft pulley. On this one, you can see that the rubber damper actually comes flush here. You can see it comes flush. There's no groove or recess in the pulley. Again, this has that counter for the crankshaft sensor. The next pulley generation change was the 2001 through 2005 engine. And you can see that the bolt actually sits recessed in this pulley. Again, this is 4 grooves, and the counter. So the difference here is the bolt sits deep into the crankshaft damper, the front pulley. On the 99 2000, you can see that the bolt sits outside. And those are the differences in the dampers. Basic components, we have the intake gear, the exhaust gear, the tensioner, the idler, and the lower crankshaft gear. The intake gear is set up when the engine is on top dead center, that the I is up. The E is going to be your timing reference mark. This mark actually goes to the E on the cover of the timing cover. The exhaust cam has the E up, and the I is your reference timing mark that goes to the cover here. It's important that when you see the mark, you follow the tooth of the gear down to the location, the white mark. I use white out to mark the covers when I take them apart. The lower gear has a crescent cutout, and it has a pointer on the engine. So lower gear, top dead center, number 1, I is up on the intake, E is up on the exhaust. Let's take a look at a timing belt that was soon to be failed. This is a belt that we took off an engine that had about 80,000 miles on it, and it started to lose its teeth. We can see right there that several teeth have been lost already, and if we look, we can see how the belt fails. It fails right at the root of the tooth. It starts to come away there. You can see how it's fractured on all the teeth. So at about 80,000 miles, this belt was on its last legs. Of course, that's here in Arizona. It's hot weather. You may get longer life, but we have seen belts fail at 77,000 miles. If we move over to the table, we'll see the two lower gears. This is that short nose crank, and this lower gear actually is a 22 millimeter diameter, and this gear is used up to VIN number 209477. In Europe, it's used up to VIN number 127422. This gear is the short nose gear, and the long nose gear is a 27 millimeter shank on the nose, and this is called the Boss hub. This actually connects with the lower gear together. So these two pieces come together. And the bolt is going to connect it, support it all together. Now to torque either one of these gears, you can make a simple tool out of a piece of flat plate steel. You can see the crescent is cut in this one, and this crescent is a little smaller for the smaller gear, and this actually goes here, and you would bolt the plate, the tool, to the gear using 6 millimeter bolts. Once you had it bolted in place, you can use your torque wrench, 21 millimeter socket, and then you can torque the short nose. The short nose, you're going to torque it to 80 pounds, 85 pounds. 85 pounds on the short nose crank. And then when you use the tool here in the shop, the flip side of the tool is a little bigger cutaway, and this is for that Boss hub. Now the Boss hub is used from that VIN number up all the way through 2005, and you would bolt it here. Now when you torque this crankshaft bolt, again a 21 millimeter socket, this is torqued to 120 pounds. So this holds the Boss hub in place, and here's your torque wrench to make that tightening. Once you do that, then you can put the front pulley, the damper, onto either the Boss hub or the short nose crank gear. We showed you the mock-up on the table over there about the primary components in the timing belt system. And on this 1990 engine, this is the short nose crank, we can see we have the timing belt, we have the intake camshaft, we have the exhaust camshaft and the gears, we have the idler pulley, the tensioner pulley, and we have the crankshaft, the timing gear behind the crankshaft pulley. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this assembly off the car, and we'll look at it without the components on it.